if you're not vegan, you're telling an animal that it's your body, but my choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is fancy.
Yeah, fancy. My name's Cole. What's your name?
Keaton.
Keaton?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, Keaton, I'm asking people the question today, why aren't you vegan? In your own words, like, how would you define veganism?
People that don't eat meat or just anything that comes from animals.
Right. And, I think it extends a little bit beyond that. I had that misconception, too, that veganism's just a diet, but it's really a moral philosophy, and it's a moral philosophy that rejects the objectification of, like, animals. So instead of looking at an animal and saying it's all right for me as a human to exploit them, to kill them, to confine them, and consume their bodies, we say that it's not, because they have their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own personalities. What are your feelings on that, as veganism as a moral philosophy?
I would agree with that for some people, but for me, I just didn't grow up vegan. I feel like it's more of a lifestyle that you have to grow up with.
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't grow up vegan either. I was born here in Arkansas, and like, I ate meat for 24 years. I ate the bodies of animals. And once I found out what was happening to them, like, I decided that there wasn't a morally relevant difference between a pig, a chicken, a cow, and a dog. So if these industries are like slitting the throats of cows, chickens, and pigs, sending them to gas chambers, taking away their reproductive autonomy, that's not something that I want to be a part of. What are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of people don't know. They just, like, out of sight, out of mind. So they don't really think about that happening.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever seen, like, slaughterhouse footage or factory farm footage?
I actually have. I looked it up once, and it was very disturbing.
Yeah, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel kind of grossed out, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, these places are really gross, like chickens, they live an average of like 42 days, and they usually don't clean, like, the feces and urine out of the sheds until the end, when they send them all out to the slaughterhouse. So for weeks, these birds who were genetically engineered to grow too big, too fast, the bodies can't support their weight. They'll fall down, and, their feces and urine will get in their wings, and it'll change the colors of their wings from, like, white to yellow. And they go to the slaughter facility with these, like, feces and bacteria and urine on them, and then they're hung upside down and have their throats cut. Does that sound like a process, that an industry that you want to give your hard-earned money to?
No, that doesn't sound very good, but it would be very hard to switch after years of eating meat.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adaptation, but I don't think that going vegan's, like, as hard as most people think it is. There's a lot of good replacements for chicken flesh out there. Like tofu, it's super cheap, and it absorbs flavor really well. There's no cholesterol, and you have less of a chance of getting, like, salmonella and E. coli. Most importantly, though, chickens have their own personalities. They breathe, they have a heart, they have lungs, they have a brain, they have eyes. And we're not giving money to deprive them of their lives, to hang them upside down in shackles and send them through a line to have their throats cut. Do you think it's worth going through a little inconvenience to educate yourself and choose different alternatives to prevent the suffering of sentient chickens?
I think so. I think it'd be hard at first, but then you just kind of get into the lifestyle, and it'd be easier after that.
Yeah, for sure. So are you planning on going vegan today?
No.
Why not?
Because I think people that do it are, like, they think about it a lot, but for me, I don't think I could make the switch.
What makes you think that you can't make the switch?
I just don't really think about it that much. I could if I really put my mind to it, but for me, I wouldn't.
Yeah, like, a lot of people who are involved in harming others, because if you're not vegan, you are harming animals. You are harming other people, or sentient animals. They don't want to think about it a lot, because then it challenges our frame of reference as ourselves as a good person. You know, like I like to think of myself as a good person, but I'm sure I've done morally questionable things, and I probably do some things now that I need to change. You know, would you say that you think of yourself as like a good person generally?
I think so. I think everyone has like their own opinions on who is a good person and who's not. But there is good in everyone, even if they're not vegan.
Do you think it's morally good to objectify sentient beings, to objectify individuals and treat them like objects and commodities?
No, but I think it's so normalized now that no one thinks about it.
Yeah. And I agree. You know, before I went vegan, I only had a conceptual idea that animals died to produce food. I didn't think about it. You know, of course, when I was going to buy like chicken sandwiches, burgers, stuff like that, I just saw that as like food, you know. I didn't see that as belonging to an animal who, you know, is just like us, and their desire to like live and want to avoid suffering. And, you know, all animals have a survival instinct, and they're so much more complex than the commodities they're portrayed as, like in media and by these companies that have chopped them up into little pieces and are selling their body parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you with this. You know, if you're not vegan, you're telling an animal that it's your body, but my choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go vegan.
Yeah, I guess I might have to look into it now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking with me.